Um, Probably not. Probably because I used to get caught a lot, and then I thought, well, I've got to sort of ask for help. I think in the early days when I was asking for help, it was more of a cry for help. Did I actually want to go to a group, like a fellowship group or a rehab? Probably not. It was more of a cry for help. So I wouldn't say it was scary, but I couldn't understand with some people. I used to often get caught, although if someone would have said to me, would I have asked for help in the workplace, I would have said absolutely no, because there's no way I would have wanted my colleagues to know what was going on. So it is a big step, but for me, I just kept, because of the gambling and the finances, I kept getting caught, and then that's when I sort of asked for help.
Yeah, so my answer is probably quite different. I was petrified about asking for help. I felt like by asking for help, I'd have to admit to everything I'd been doing, and a lot of that was in secret. I felt that if I admitted to that and told people what was going on and the fact that I was struggling, that they'd have a judgment, and that potentially the people that I cared about wouldn't care for me anymore, and it became a real block, that, and a hurdle. And I think I really had to get to a low point before I was willing to do it, and even then, I probably wasn't fully honest when I first asked for help. But it was made a little bit easier because I had a friend who was in recovery and he sat next to me. It was actually him I went to before anyone else. So I was getting caught and I was doing things that I shouldn't do. And when it was all getting a bit too much, it was him that I phoned up. It was Mark, and I met him. And I think that was probably the first time that I've ever asked for help or actually said, I am struggling. I was scared, I was nervous, I was petrified, but Mark then helped me have discussions with my family, and over a period of months, even 18 months, my life started to get better from that point.
Yeah, I think the first time I tried to get help was when I was at 21. I really didn't sort of understand it all then. I didn't think I had a gambling problem, I thought I had a financial problem. I think the first time I really wanted that help was at 29 when I went to rehab. But I'd caused a lot of destruction in my wake, so the difference is, yes, asking for help, but there's some steps after it as well that you need to take.
So what advice would you give to someone watching this who thinks they may have a problem?
I've said it in one of the other videos that you don't have to wait until you're homeless, that you've lost all your family, that you've ruined your career, that you're thinking about killing yourself. There are steps to take beforehand. If it's having an impact on your mental health, your finances, your career, more importantly, your loved ones and those around you, your children, your mum, your wife, all them people, if it's affecting them and affecting yourself, do something about it, and that can come in many forms. Again, if you're struggling, you don't have to do it alone. Speak to people, don't be ashamed about it. Both Liam and I can vouch for it. Yes, through our addictions, the word addiction sometimes comes with a lot of stigma and a lot of shame. If anything, now we get a lot of pats on the back because we're so honest and open with it. So my advice is, don't be ashamed, get some help and support, speak to your loved ones. There is always help and support, even when you feel like you've lost them loved ones. So at 29, I pushed all my family away from me. I found help from a rehab in the West Midlands of people that I never even met before. Them people saved my life, and I'd not known them people throughout this addiction. So what I'm saying is, no matter where you go, there is always help and support for those that are struggling.
And what advice would you give someone who's worried about somebody else?
I think it's always difficult when you feel like you're watching somebody else struggle. Whether that's mental health or addiction, it can be really difficult to be on the sidelines and feel that, you know, you want to fix or help and it's not working. But I do think there are some kind of steps or bits of advice that are useful, and I think the first one is tell them that you're worried and you think that they're struggling. You know, be honest, ask questions, ask direct questions, tell them why you're worried, ask them more than once. You know, they might not respond and say, yes, I'm struggling, I need some help straight away, much like I didn't when Mark was sticking his nose in, but you've planted a seed. and they may come to you when you're ready. I think alongside that, you know, set some boundaries. Set some boundaries of things you are willing to accept, and kind of ways to protect yourself as well. So, you know, let someone know you're worried, tell them why you're worried, be there ready to support and love someone by all means, but don't sacrifice yourself in the process, and take care of yourself along the way. You know, quite often the person struggling is the last person to see it, but I think if you are consistent and let them know that help and support is available when they are ready, then you may just be that person they come to at that time.
Yeah, and for anyone that is watching this, and if it's a loved one, you know, a wife, a mum, a dad, have some hope that there's a way out. You become hopeless, to be honest, when you're living through addiction every single day, and I think it's important that you look at the likes of me and Liam, but also the millions of other addicts who are in recovery, who've rebuilt their life, have that bit of hope that there's a way out. And I know it probably doesn't feel like that when you're in the thick of it, but there are loads of people that are living proof that have gone and got help and support and turned their life around, and hopefully your loved one is one of them people.
So what support is available?
There's a number of different ways to get help and support, to be honest. We would always encourage anyone to, if they can, go to the GP. I think it's a really good starting point, whether it's addiction or mental health. I know that can be a daunting process, but we think it's really important because with certain things you may need medical support, and for them to be aware of what you're struggling with. I think telling someone that you trust and love about what you're doing and about your struggle is massive, and they may help you and kind of go with you to some appointments and things like that, which can be really important. And then from there, you've got things like peer-to-peer support groups and fellowship meetings. These are places that are run by people with experience, who have understanding and can advise you based on their own journey and their own experience, which can be massive, coming from maybe feeling isolated or alone with an addiction or a mental health struggle. They can have a real big benefit. There's private, you know, sort of therapeutic routes, be it either referred or private, be it counsellors, CBT and many other. And then you've got things like treatment, rehab centres, which, you know, for some people being removed and kind of put in a safe place, it can be needed and can have great results. So there's quite a wide spectrum, really.
There's lots of different recovery routes, and what works for Liam might not work for me. You've just got to keep trying. Sometimes you might have a little bit of a negative experience somewhere, and your addiction will tell you to sort of come back. I can vouch for that. There'd be times where I thought I was looking for any excuse and was lost to my addiction again for a few years. However, there is some excellent support out there.
And what support is available locally?
So Liam's just touched on some of the sort of fellowship groups, organisations that are in your area. Wigan's got some fantastic sort of support groups, organisations that offer help, and we are going to put them on the back of this link to them specific groups and sort of treatment routes. So hopefully if you are struggling, you can tap into some of them support networks.